Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining Two-Way tonight, our signature open. For some, that never gets old. For some, it's torture. If you're listening on the podcast edition of the program, you missed President Trump dancing his signature YMCA dance at a business event in Miami today, where he gave a long, classic Trump meandering speech, part Don Rickles, part Chevy Chase, part Donald Trump. It would just, one of these ones where it'd be great just to see a list of all the topics he covered, because I watched up, I think, 2/3 of it, and there were a lot of digressions, including he introduced about 14 people in the audience and said stuff about each of them. It was quite something. But he also talked about the two main topics we'll cover today, the government shutdown and the election from last night, and the interplay between the two of them. The other big story, the Supreme Court hearing arguments in two separate cases related to the president's tariff authority. If you're one of those people who believes you can tell from the questions of the justices where their heads and hearts are at, you wouldn't be betting on the president winning this, and Wall Street loved that. And a lot of members of Congress secretly, Republican members of Congress secretly hope that the court sides against the administration. It's interesting, if you think about it from the market's point of view, more uncertainty to have the tariffs struck down, which would lead to the administration trying to figure out a way to reimpose them, or to let them stand and continue to adjust. The markets seem to be doing fine under the status quo, but for some reason, the markets want certain uncertainty. That's what I'm calling it. Hopefully, I'm the first one to come up with that line. It's either uncertain certainty or certain uncertainty. I don't know which, but one of them fits perfectly. We'll figure that out in this hour. Thank you for being here. If you're here on the Two-Way platform, want to be involved in the conversation, well, there's one thing you can do. You can raise your hand. Raise your electronic hand. We'll get to you before too long. And if you're watching on X or YouTube, our strong preference, our request, our recommendation, our desire is you not put smack in the chat. So don't put smack in the chat, as they say, and think about peace, love, and understanding. Whatever you think of the mayor-elect of New York City. That's the other big story today, of course, relates to the election. Mr. Mamdani named his transition team and put out another signature video, which we will watch. Two great guests today. They'll be here in just a moment. Two mastermind political strategists, one Democrat and one Republican. And we'll bring them in. We'll run through the news. And then before too long to get your questions. And we're grateful to you for being part of the Two-Way community. A word from our sponsors. To kick things off, the good folks at Cozy Earth are having a crazy, wacky, stupendous Black Friday sale right now. You can save 40% off your order using the promo code MARK if you go to CozyEarth.com. That includes everything, the bedding, the towels, the blankets, including the signature bubble cuddle blanket, as well as the pants, the shirts, everything. 40% off. It seems almost impossible, but right now you can use the code Two-Way to get additional savings from what's already available on the site. 40% off to wrap the ones you love in luxury with Cozy Earth. It's an incredible offer. Right now, go do it. Towels were recommended to me yesterday, so of course I went right on and ordered myself some towels to join the pants and the bedding right here. The bedding, it really no risk. You can return it within 100 days, and it comes with a 10-year warranty. And it is the best bedding you'll ever buy. And again, with the 40% off discount, I'm not saying it's free, but it's an extraordinary opportunity. Again, CozyEarth.com, promo code Two-Way for an extraordinary 40% off your entire order. Thank you for your attention to that matter. All right, let's bring in our guests, because I don't want to do any of the news without them, because there would be like super decoder rings. Kristin Davison, welcome in. Virginian, right? You live in Virginia. Sometimes you do. Virginian, Republican, Karl Rove disciple, which of course in some of today's Republican Party is you'd be better off being a Bernie Sanders disciple. But,
oh no, I'm a proud one.
No, I know you are. I'm just saying, as you know, you got some people in the party who maybe don't love Karl Rove. And tell us how you spent election night.
I had a lot of former staffers and friends who were leaving it all out there on the field, so I was supporting them and watching numbers come in. It was I didn't think it was gonna be too late of a night, but still always takes a long time for all those numbers to come in. So I was supporting old staffers who were working hard.
Yeah. How late did you stay up?
Probably midnight, maybe 11 midnight.
And what was just speaking on professional terms, what was the highlight of your night?
So every election in every state, I always pick a county that I just obsess over for weeks. I mean, it just does it like every state I do it. And so, for this election, it was Stafford County in Virginia, and so I was manically following it, and there was a really heated delegate race there. And I basically said how that was going to go was going to determine what kind of night it was going to be. And so the professional highlight for me is that I was right in terms of that being a gauge for everything. But it's a big nerd alert, so apologies for everyone on the chat who.
That's all right. Believe it or not, there are many members of the two-way community who now think the world of you because you're focused on a single county. Our other guest tonight has also been here before. We love having her on, and I spent the day practicing how to pronounce her name because I don't want to get it wrong, and yet I will because I still pronounce it Nevada. So here we go, and you'll just politely correct me. Ready? Here we go. Yemisi.
Perfect.
Yemisi, and Yemisi's last name is Egbewole. And yeah, there you go. I practiced all day, but I'll get it wrong next time. She worked in the Biden White House as a kind of an executive overseeing the operations of the communications office. And every time I see her on another show, I just think, man, we got to get her back on two-way. So very grateful to you coming back. How did you spend your election night?
I also spent it with some friends and supporting former staffers. So since I used to work for Senator Mark Warner, we had a little Virginia rally cheering on our gal. But the race I was really watching was in Georgia with the Public Service Commission. That's coming from Georgia. That was just something of the heart, a very hyper local niche race. So good to see it getting some attention.
But another big win for Democrats up there with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court and some of the others that obviously not marquee, but super meaningful and a sense of giving people a sense that it was a great night for Democrats. Yemisi, have you ever met Karl Rove?
I haven't, but I see him on Fox all the time.
Yeah. Well, who would you say is the Democratic Party equivalent of Karl Rove?
James Carville.
James Carville. All right. I'm not going to comment on that. I have my point. I have a point of view. I'll just say, Carl. You know what Carl? Yemisi, do you know what Carl started doing in politics? You know what his first specialty was?
No.
He did direct mail. And back before you were born, that was the only way to reach voters. You had to go write a letter. And Carl can do everything. Carl can write polls and read polls and write ads and make ads and fundraise. He's one of these people in politics who just can do pretty much everything. And by integrating it in the mind of one person, there's added value there, right? Because you're not having to negotiate with anybody else. And James is very talented at a lot of things, but I don't think as multidimensional as Carl is. And I love, as we say in Texas, I love bragging on Carl because then all the MAGA people hate me, and I take some of the pressure off of Carl. All right, thank you again, ladies. Love having you both on. Let's start with so as always, Donald Trump, when he talks, dominates everything because it's so much great talent. He talked this morning at some length at about 8:30 at a breakfast for Senate Republicans after the media left. The president continued to lobby them for something they're never going to do. Doesn't make any sense to me. Asked them to get rid of the filibuster. And then he flew to Miami and he gave this long speech where he talked about everything under the sun. So a lot of what we're going to play for you today is various sound bites from that extraordinary event. And we're going to start with the president talking about the shutdown, which, as best I can tell, continues. And just to cut to the chase, I did not understand why people said the Democrats would cave after the election, particularly if they did well. And now you're hearing from all sorts of people in the base and some more of the progressive Democratic senators, like, no way are we going to give in now. Here's the president's analysis of where the race stands. This is not in his Miami event, but in his long interview with Bret Baier, which airs on Fox this evening. Here's the president to Bret on the shutdown. Number one, please.
Is there a deal that can be made to end this government shutdown in your mind?
Well, I think the Democrats have become radicalized. I think, this never happened before. They always extend. An extension is very easy. It's done all the time. You extend, sometimes you extend 4 or 5 times. I mean, they become radicalized lunatics, actually, in a true sense. They should automatically extend, and we will make a deal as soon as they do. As soon as they do, we'll make a deal.
Okay. What would you think the posture is, or what do you know the posture is? Widely being reported that Democrats say we're not giving in now. But what would you think the posture of the party is right now on making some sort of deal with the president on the shutdown?
Yeah, I can say, especially knowing a lot of the centrists in the Senate and the moderates and those, that's the group that everyone's putting pressure on. Look, Trump's tweet was the tweet heard around the world when he said that the blame for the elections is on the shutdown. It really gave a boost of energy to Democrats in the fact that the president might be indicating that Republicans are getting some negative blowback from this. And look, both nobody's winning in this. Both it's equally split down the middle on the polls on how people feel favorability wise on this. But even more reason to dig in now.
Yeah.
Nobody's shifting.
Yeah, Kristen, the leverage that the White House seems to be trying to use has to do with air traffic control, and the Secretary of Transportation is touting that we still have food assistance, we still have potential cutoff of pay for the military. But where do you think? Which side, after last night, do you see either side being more likely to make an accommodation?
I don't. And you talk to so many different people, and the prediction I keep hearing is that Democrats are going to push it till Thanksgiving because that's when most people travel. That's when air traffic control will really be an issue. And right now, it's the people who have been directly impacted and affected. It's horrible. So, SNAP and military and federal workers and all of that. But you're going to really touch a broader populace if all of a sudden people can't get home for Thanksgiving. And so that's what, the unknown to me. I've heard it a lot now that Democrats, to the point just made, really feel emboldened and are going to push this to Thanksgiving because for a lot of Americans, it's been abstract pain and not direct. And I think if you're going to shut down the major airports in the country on the busiest travel day of the year, a lot more people are going to get upset.
Speaking of going from abstract to personal, do you all recommend the mega bus? I need to get from New York. I need to get from New York from Washington on Monday. And
Mark, are you fleeing? Are you fleeing New York?
No, I'm not. I'm staying, but I got meetings. So we'll talk about fleeing New York in a minute.
Wi-Fi on it. It's
who would you? I thought for a while that the key is the Senate Democrats who are interested in the deal, but even if they make a deal, it's not clear to me that deal gets ratified unless the president's on board. So who's the key to you? Let me see. Who's the key person who you think holds the best hope to end the shutdown? Is it the president? Is it a Democratic senator? Is it Chuck Schumer? Who would it be in your mind?
I have little to no faith in Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
I believe, if anything, it would be the Democratic senators. And I think, speaking from personal experience, I think like my boss, Senator Mark Warner, I worked for him during the 35-day shutdown, and the intensity that came from federal workers in that Northern Virginia area, I think Mark Warner and Tim Kaine. And then if we flip to the Maryland Senator, that whole DMV electorate, they're already feeling the pressure. So we add in close to Thanksgiving, it's just going to be blinding for them.
Yeah. Kristen, based on either your knowledge or just your understanding of the world, how do you think Republican senators feel about the president publicly and privately trying to have them get rid of the filibuster?
I think there's some frustration there. I mean, this is something that we'll see. But from what I understand, a lot of senators aren't going to bend on it. I think that a lot of them have been in the Senate for a long time. They saw what Harry Reid did back in 2013. They see around the bend of how dangerous it can be. And from what I can tell, no one's wavering on that yet to get the votes. So, I don't think obviously it's not the first time the president has made this case, right? He's made it multiple times. This has been a conversation had even in the first term and now. And so I don't think that, it's probably just frustration with the overall situation and probably some nerves that might be the only way to get it done.
Yeah. Which interests you two more, the overall lessons of last night's elections or New York City mayor? Which interests you more as a topic?
I think they're one and the same. I think that you can listen in the mayor race as well.
Okay. All right. Let's start with the mayor. Today, he named his transition team, as I said, Lena Khan, this is number 8, please, was named head of the transition. She's pretty progressive. She's like a Sanders Democrat and big on antitrust. And here's the Journal headline: Mamdani taps antitrust crusader Lena Khan to help lead transition. Appointment is likely to do little to assuage business community rattled by mayor-elect's progressive agenda. Last night, of course, Bill Ackman, who was sort of the billionaire poster poster billionaire for opposition to Mamdani, reached out to him on Twitter and said, let me know what I can do to help. Today on Good Morning America, Mamdani was relatively conciliatory, unlike in his speech last night. Here's a video. It's pretty long, but I think it's worth watching, of him talking about the transition. It's a little bit of Schoolhouse Rockish. Number 7, please.
Good morning, New York City, and thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and a hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what our neighborhoods deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency, because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
Man, this could be the most well-funded transition since Trump's. Kristin, does he come across as trustworthy to you?
No, not at all. He comes across like, I don't know, not very trustworthy. And I think he's going to have he's going to run into similar, when Obama was elected president, everyone thought he was similar vibes, right? This future of the Democrat Party, trendy, talking with the youths. It was hard when he would bump up against things because governing is a lot more difficult than making a YouTube video. And I think that we're going to see that here. I don't think anyone has ever really talked outside of New York, like who cares about the New York mayor transition, right? But we're talking about it now because this guy obviously, ran an awesome campaign, has a really, the lesson from that race to me again is that he really has his finger on the pulse of what people are worried about. It's the cost of living and it's those kitchen table issues. I think that some of the things he wants to do, it'll be very interesting to see if he can actually get them done. I think right now he's going to, similar to other pop star-esque politicians, is going to bump up against reality. And I'm curious to see how that will go for him.
Yeah. Yemisi, I've made it my mission now, and I've actually been for a while. I want everybody to get along about this guy. So Kristin says, scoffs at the notion that he's trustworthy. And yet I know many people who think he is, who I respect the judgment of as much as I respect Kristin. Do you think he's trustworthy?
Yeah, his night shift video really moved me in a way.
Yeah.
I don't think I had ever been emotional about Mamdani. The very much definitely can't be Cuomo camp, need Dems that have energy, but like centrist Dems, so like what the heck is a free bus? But man, oh man, I realize there's been such a loss of like positivity from politics. Where I'm tearing up watching him talk to cabbies and like night shift nurses.
Yeah.
So, but we're right here on campaigning is very different from governing, and so maybe a lot of these videos start to feel shticky after a while. I think Lena Khan is a great ad. Look, you say that you want to hit at cost. Well, you get the person who's the top antitrust enforcement person in the nation. So, let's see who he adds. A lot of what he's been hit on is lack of experience, and now he's plugging in people who have the top experience in the nation. So we'll see where they kind of have to hedge him, right? Like you have to staff a principal. You have to give them expectations.
Yeah. I love what both of you said. I want to go back to this issue of trust. Because I myself, part of why I'm so confused by all this is I go back and forth. Sometimes I think he's just extraordinary genuine. And sometimes he comes across to me as literally like an actor, like a Manchurian candidate, just completely like, the cameras go off and he's like, all right, what are we doing next? What is it about him that I contain multitudes? Like, I feel both ways. But Kristin, just every time she sees him, she's like, what a phony, what a complete fake. And again, I'm surrounded by people in Manhattan and in Brooklyn when I go to a hacky sack tournament who are like, this is the greatest. What is it about him? Because the only person I've been able to come up with in my career who's like this is Trump, where MAGA people say, this is it, this is everything, this guy's incredible. And then, of course, other people say this is the worst thing that's ever happened to America. What is it about this guy that it inspires such extraordinary range amongst people of good faith, good judgment? Kristin, what is it about him that's causing all this dissonance?
He hasn't really been tested yet. I mean, you go back, I watched a few of the tough interviews that he had, really couldn't handle it. And so you really see someone's true character when their feet is to the fire. And we haven't seen that. So that's a large part of why I don't trust him. I feel like he is living in this, hipster Brooklyn cafe where everything is happy and we're all friends and this is all fun and positive and like, that's awesome. But let's see how he acts when he can't get something done. Because so far what I've seen when someone questions him or pushes him, he doesn't have that genuine smile that we see in that video he puts out.
Yeah. Let me see. What is it about him? Can you put your finger on it? I'm desperate to understand why he's inspiring such diverse views.
I mean, he's a shot of adrenaline in a party, like on either side where we've just like had old men. I mean,
I understand the inspiration side, but I'm saying is you can see Kristin is not some reflexive hater. She's not looking, but her reaction is the same as a lot of the Republican members of Congress I've talked to about him. They just think he's a phony.
I know. I think to be someone who really is, everybody talks about, I'm for the people, I'd like the people support. I think Mamdani's the first person where you watch and you're like, oh, wow, the people really did this. For him to topple someone like Cuomo, it just makes you wonder, one, who is this guy? Because he really came out of nowhere. And then second, who does he think he is? I mean, because when he first started running, I know as Democrats, we were like, yeah, we don't like Andrew Cuomo, but like, who do you think you are? You don't challenge Andrew Cuomo when he's backed by Michael Bloomberg's money and he's been endorsed by Hillary Clinton. That's even trifecta. And so sometimes I just look at him, I'm like, my God, he had the audacity. And then other times I'm like, my God, finally, someone had the audacity. So it's just, it's a swirl of emotions.
All right. The other topic I'm super interested, well, one of many, is not just because I live here and not just because it's the biggest city, but he's such a compelling figure, is the president's connection to him. The president's going to want to talk about him every day. Here's the president talking about the mayor-elect. Two sound bites. Go ahead, Sam, play them back to back. Number 4 and number 5.
After last night's results, the decision facing all Americans could not be more clear. We have a choice between communism and common sense. But the communists, Marxists, socialists, and globalists had their chance, and they delivered nothing but disaster. And now let's see how a communist does in New York. We're going to see how that works out. And we'll help them. We'll help them. We want New York to be successful. We'll help them a little bit, maybe. For all of these failed and discredited, really discredited, if you think, ideologies of the past, their day is over, their grip is broken, and their time is absolutely done. The golden age of America has begun, and we are just getting started.
All right. It's clearly in the president's interest, I think, he seems to think, to engage with him, Mamdani, every day. Yemisi, if you were the chief of staff to the mayor-elect or in the comms operation, would you encourage him to look for opportunities to engage with Donald Trump, or say, focus on the city for now and pick that fight later?
Focus on the city. I mean, Newsom engages with Trump because Newsom is thinking about 2028. Mamdani has such a huge project ahead of him, and he needs to really focus on building the relationships with the governor's office. I mean, Kathy Hochul endorsed him, but remember, she is dubious. And also with the city council, all the assemblymen. I mean, Trump's will help him. It sounds a little menacing, like a movie villain.
Yeah.
I think that Trump will try to distract him as much as possible because, like, Mamdani's success is to everyone's detriment because it proves a point. So, I mean,
Kristin, it's November 5th. What's the date by which Mamdani will have hosted Saturday Night Live?
I bet, don't they do like a Thanksgiving special?
Yeah. You think he'll do a cameo or host?
I think he'll do a cameo.
Yeah.
I hope
If you worked for him and Lauren Michaels called you and asked you to do it, would you have him do it?
Yeah, I mean, half the staff was out there. I mean, half the cast was out there.
But is it dignified and mayoral for him to do it?
I mean, sure. I think that he's doing cartoon memes and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's any different.
He would kill on that show.
He would. I mean, and Trump was on that show too. So
yeah. All right, we're gonna get to your questions. I'm gonna speed through some headlines. You guys can just chime in as Mayor-elect Mamdani would say. Feel free to kibitz and just chime in here. Chuck Schumer facing a lot of pressure, both over the shutdown and his failure to endorse, and got a New York Times headline today that says, after Mamdani win, Schumer denies he's out of touch. What kind of politician wants that headline? Denies out of touch. Jared Golden, I think the only Democrat in the House, I believe, the only Democrat in the House who represents a district that Donald Trump won, was being primaried, and announced today he's not seeking re-election. He said in part because of threats made against his family. Do you guys know Jared Golden?
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Really one of the best.
Good moderate.
Yeah, but even leaving, I agree, but even leaving his politics aside, just one of the most decent members of Congress I've ever met in either party. Kevin Roberts, head of the Heritage Foundation, according to the Free Beacon, apologized to the staff today for the way he's been handling the Tucker Carlson thing, although it's not clear to me if he apologized for the first thing he did or the second thing he did. As I said, the Supreme Court in the arguments very skeptical, many of the justices, over the administration's arguments regarding tariffs. Stocks did close higher. And don't forget, Brett Baer's interview with the president airs tonight on Special Report. And then Jesse Waters has his full interview with Erica Kirk at, what time's Jesse on, 9 or 8?
I think it's 8.
8, and then Sean's on at 9.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Quick word from a sponsor, and then we're going to your questions. So please raise your hand if you want to get in on the conversation. It's from the good folks at lean.com. Take lean.com. Use the promo code 2way for 20% off. Avoid fad diets. And I don't know, you guys like to inject stuff into yourself? That seems awkward. The GLP-1 injectables and various fad diets are not good for you. You can weight cycle, lose and gain 10 pounds. I'd like to lose the 10, not gain it back, but too many people gain it back and cause all sorts of health problems. Take Lean, developed by doctors, allows you to do 3 great things: maintain healthy blood sugar, control appetite and cravings, and burn fat by converting it to energy. So if you want to try a proven way to lose weight and do it in a healthy way and keep it off, go to takelean.com, use the promo code 2way, and take 20% off your order. Again, promo code is 2way. The website, takelean.com. Thank you for your attention to this matter. If other stuff hasn't worked for you, perhaps give this a try. Here we go. Come on in, tell folks where you are who don't know and what's on your mind. Sue, who lives in Colorado, I know, so I'll say it for her. Sue, welcome in. Congratulations on the opportunity of a lifetime to address these 2 political geniuses. Floor is yours.
It is an opportunity of a lifetime. I have a lot of thoughts after last night. My husband and I were watching the results, and we were very excited to see the margins in Virginia and New Jersey. And then this morning, and I lived in North Carolina for 17 years in a town that's just south and west of Raleigh, Wake County. My friends were texting me and emailing me that the 17 years I lived in that town, there was never a mayor who was a Democrat. And Democrats never had the majority on the town board. In 6 states in Wake County, and 6 cities and towns in Wake County, only 1 incumbent was reelected, and the ones that were ousted were replaced by Democrats, which has never happened in the 17 years that I lived there. Never happened. I think what happened yesterday goes well beyond like these big races. There was more of a movement, I would say. And then I look at some of the policies. Again, I have so many thoughts. I have 2 kids, 23, 25. My 23-year-old daughter is a college graduate. She works 3 part-time jobs in Louisville, Colorado, which is near Boulder, just to pay rent. My son has been out of work for 2 months. He lives in the Greensboro area of North Carolina. He finally landed a job today, which I hope he can start Friday. I've had to support both of them, supplement their income. And I look at Mamdani saying he wants to raise the minimum wage in New York to $30 an hour. The minimum wage in North Carolina is $7.25. The minimum wage in Colorado is $15. The cost of living, from what I saw moving from North Carolina to Colorado, is really not that different.
Yeah.
But I go into Target today and buy vitamins. The vitamins I've bought forever. The jar, and I'm not talking like a Costco-sized jar, $32.99. I put it back on the shelf. I don't know what the answer is to affordability. I know my kids can't afford to live without me supporting them. I'm on a pension. I'm on Social Security. My husband is a teacher. And there are times they can't pay their rent. They see no future at all. They keep telling me, Mom, we will never own a house. And I'm like, well, when I die, you'll get my money. And I'm like, don't say that, don't say that. But they don't see a future. I don't think the future is a $30 minimum wage in New York City. To me, that's ridiculous. Businesses will go out of business.
Yeah.
Nor do I think $7.25 makes sense in North Carolina.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't think the answer is Mamdani. I don't think the answer is free giveaways for everything. That's not sustainable. I don't think Trump is doing anyone any good right now with his policies, because people can't afford to live. You can't afford the groceries.
So you're speaking for tens of millions, and I can hear in your voice the concern and anguish, and also, correct questioning of how this gets solved. Ladies, Yemisi, you first. Thoughts on what Sue has said, both the specifics of her family situation, but also how does politics enter into this in government?
Yeah, I can relate to that so much as somebody in their early 30s who oftentimes asked my parents, how did you afford a home, multiple vehicles in a suburb of Atlanta at a time when I need you to help me get a condo outside of DC? I don't understand how people like bought homes and lived and existed. And there's an entire generation coming up after me that, instead of being a little bit apathetic about it, like I think millennials are really angry, and it's showing. And I think the Mamdani vote is just an example of that. And look, how do you go from 15 to 30? He said, we'll go gradually. How do businesses end up not punishing workers because you raise the minimum wage? Right, because you can raise the minimum wage, but then somebody can look at all of their staff and go, well, because the minimum wage is raised, I just need 4 servers instead of the 8 I now employ. So how do you maintain job retention? And I think part of that goes into why Trump hasn't figured out a lot of this economic downturn. And that it's just one slice of the pie, right? We raise the minimum wage, we make jobs able for people to afford to live. Okay. And then the landlord raises the rent. It all like coalesces together. I mean, a lot of Democrats are leaning into the abundance of it all. And at this point, I can't even say Ezra Klein without rolling my eyes a bit, because it's almost a caricature. But I mean, maybe there is something about the permitting crisis that we have and the bureaucracy that exists in politics. And maybe we do have to expand housing. And as Democrats, it's not cut off housing just because there's some green emissions test that it didn't pass, or it wasn't powered by solar or wind or whatever. Maybe it is about like being less conscious of like the earth impacts and more about like, how do people live day to day? And I think that takes an entire army of different people coming together, because it's also reactive. We raise the minimum wage, businesses reacted to that. So
yeah, Kristin, when you hear Sue's story about her kids, it makes it so obvious why Mamdani won, because he's capturing both the youthful spirit, but also the anger at the forces in the society that are giving young people very little hope. And I hear so much what Sue said. Young people think it's a joke that they could ever buy a home. Like, it's not even something they'd aspire to. Kristin.
Neither of my kids would have voted for Mamdani if they lived in New York. My son isn't registered to vote and won't because he thinks all politicians are jokes, and my daughter is an independent. But I heard today on some show that I was listening to that people are blaming old white boomers, who are apparently all old white boomers are rich, which I'm sorry,
Kristin.
Well, I think, and I was looking at especially the results from yesterday, I do think we're seeing, this growing anger and this real underground populist movement, we're seeing a transformation of it. And I think we have to go back and look at 2015, 2016. Trump really grabbed onto it and spoke to it. And it was such a gift to be able to let people who kept seeing their bosses make more money, they staying at the same level, their kids not able to buy a house, and feel that, it's working for some, not working for all people. That feeling Trump tapped into, and that's what really rode him to office in 2016. I think that's what is helped, win in 2024. When you look at the campaigns that won last night, which, game can respect game. There were good campaigns, even though they're Democrats. I can say they ran a good campaign. They all focused on these issues. Spamberger in Virginia had a housing plan, had a cost of childcare plan, had, talked about energy. You look at these places, the campaigns that won are the ones that were disciplined on message, talking about that cost of living. And that's something for Republicans to really take away from. I'm not really big in fighting over margins or, blasting talking points or whose fault it was or anything like that. We can learn from this and take something from the campaigns that won, because we, as Republicans, we just did that, a year ago. We ran on that. Trump ran on cost of living and the fact that Democrats didn't care, and inflation. And so we need to, and the other point to your point, it doesn't happen overnight either. So right now people are angry at Trump over it. Well, a lot of this is, after 4 years of the last administration, that will continue. And I'm sure 4 years from now, it'll be, say it was during this administration, this is going to be a constant problem. And it's not going to be, to your point, Mamdani won't, I can't even say his name the right way, but Zoran won't fix it overnight by giving a free handout. What we need to do, everyone that's running a campaign, that's running for office, needs to see what those cost of living problems are in your community, in your space. So whether it's Jersey and energy prices, it's gonna be energy prices everywhere, but find out what it is and tackle it and try to do it piece by piece. It's not going to just be a free handout for everyone. I think that we saw candidates and campaigns who were disciplined, who didn't take the bait, who focused on that, win last night. And we saw campaigns who didn't have that message, who didn't have a message, and kind of, flounder. We saw them lose. And so that's what we're going to have to look at moving forward, because what you're talking about is in every household in America right now, just about. Yeah. There's either a millennial who can't buy a house, who's approaching 40 and still hasn't been able to do it. There's someone your age who's supporting their kids. There's someone who's in their 50s who is trying to afford childcare and also take care of an aging parent. These are all issues that are snowballing. And I think COVID, that's one thing we all forget about, but I put a lot of us just generationally behind. So all those kids that are angry now, they probably didn't go to their college graduation. So they never had that, transfer into adult life. And now they're trying to figure out, how do I pay rent? How do I do this when I was, stuck at home for 2 years? So there's a lot of issues that we just aren't talking about that I think the campaigns that do will be rewarded, in the future.
Yep. Sue, thank you. And again, good luck to your kids, and hope the job works out. Quick, another word from another sponsor, and then back to questions from folks. This is from our sponsor, cornbreadhemp.com. If you're feeling a little stressed, and I don't just mean people in New York City, if you're feeling a little stressed, things have been a little crazy, you're looking for some relief, a natural way to relieve stress, discomfort, or aches, the CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it. If you've tried other stuff and it doesn't work for you, give this a try. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, and it's made from the best part of the hemp flower, the hemp plant, which is the flower, purest and most potent form of CBD. All products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, you can save 30% off your first order by using the promo code two-way. Go to cornbreadhemp.com/two-way. Use the code two-way for 30% off your order. And I recommend it particularly for people in New York City at this time. All right, ladies, I want to show you some video we just got in. This is This is an ICE raid of a daycare center in Chicago that's getting a lot of attention. I haven't seen it, but my Twitter feed has exploded over it. So let's take a look and
Mark, it's a photo. We're downloading the video right now.
All right. Are you guys familiar with this story? Either of you? No. All right. Well, all right. Well, if we have time for it, we'll get to it. Let's go to Rick. Rick, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind for Kristin and Yemisi.
Thank you, Mark. I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. What a privilege to talk to you two ladies. The opportunity that Mark's given me is amazing. Yemisi, I love you on Special Report. You're awesome. And Kristin, I don't know how you sit at that table on CNN when you do. That's just too much. But anyway, my original question was going to be about the House, the Democrats retaking the House next week. And A, will they impeach Trump? And B, if so, how long will it take them? That is a serious question. I think that he's probably afraid of that. But my Sue got me thinking about healthcare, and I'm a pretty recently retired entrepreneur, self-employed, and so I paid for my own healthcare for all of Obamacare. And you know, pre-Obamacare, my premiums were about $400 a month, and I had 2 small children and a spouse. And the last year I paid for healthcare, it was $2,300 a month because I earned just over the threshold. So if you earn just over the threshold, you get absolutely slaughtered. And that I think is what needs to be addressed. The Democrats have a point that you can't increase someone's health care from $400 a month to $2,500, and that's what will happen to a lot of people. But it seems to me the income threshold just has to be higher. It seems like such an easy fix to me. So I just was
okay. Great question. Great question.
Your opinions.
Kristin, thoughts on that?
You know, I'm really glad that you brought up healthcare. I'm sorry you are seeing that struggle. I hear you. It's something I hear all the time. I say this probably once a day, that this healthcare crisis with just Obamacare, which has been set up to fail. I mean, that's coming right now. People are feeling it all the time. And just overall, what's happening with healthcare is you can feel it about to explode. I mean, this is not just a medical issue. This is not a side issue. You see it in every survey. This is a top 3 issue. This is an economic issue. It is its own. It is no longer about your doctor or this is about your bills and getting stuck with premiums, and the fact that you have to make a decision between whether you can make your car payment for the month or get your premium for the month. I mean, it is coming to a head, and you can see it. And so I was frustrated when, you know, my own party, when Republicans were shouting for repeal without a real replacement. I mean, we can't just say get rid of something without an answer. And I think now Democrats saying, well, we need to keep Obamacare and die on the Hill. I don't think that's an answer either. But this is coming, but whichever party someone needs to figure it out, because I believe that this issue will define the midterms next year, because it's just creeping up. What you just said, Rick, I think people are having that conversation right now when they're sitting home at dinner, because it is really ballooning and no one has really taken ownership of it. I think right now, you know, Democrats historically have an advantage on the issue, mostly just because they made it their issue during the Obama presidency. But that's how, you know, education used to be a Democrat issue only too, and Republicans stepped in and really pulled that back. And now we're kind of even. Sometimes, you know, we are seen as more trustworthy. I mean, Republicans can really take this issue and, to your point, address the problems with Obamacare, find real solutions, and feed into that, you know, despair and angst that voters are feeling. If we offer the solution, it's not just a side issue anymore. This is an economic issue that we really need to take hold of.
Yemisi.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the ACA was to make healthcare affordable, not just for low-income Americans. And it's such a great point about the income threshold, because when they were set so far back, the economy has totally changed. I mean, we were just talking with Sue about how things have become grossly unaffordable, but we still maintain the same thresholds for folks, not realizing that how they've been able to pay. I mean, somebody who was making $60,000 8 years ago, making $60,000 today is not the same, and you cannot live the same life. It's at the same time, right? We have to remember that people who don't have health care cost more in the end. The cost comes back onto us. And so I think Democrats are having this conversation about Obamacare right now. At the same time that we have this shutdown, they're kind of in back rooms. They are in back rooms going, okay, oh shit, like we are approaching a cliff. There is an issue with healthcare, with Obamacare, because the entire fact that we had to subsidize it means that there is some gross ineptitude within it. And it's getting, you used to just whisper that, and you used to say, oh, should we tweak Obamacare? And you go, no, that's landmark legislation. That is our platform. We die on this hill. And now we're all standing together going, maybe we tweak this.
Well, and
maybe
we
we revisit.
Stop saying we told you so, right? I mean, that's the thing. Democrats need to admit there's a problem, and Republicans need to stop saying we told you so, because that's what we reflexively do. Every time someone says, "Oh yeah, Obamacare is wrong," I'm like, we all spent 8 years fighting this. Like, we remember it very well, and we just have to get over it and acknowledge it's a problem. And whichever party crosses the finish line with a solution is gonna, really. It'll pay off politically long term.
Yeah, and it is a hard one. Ladies, so we got to end a bit early tonight, but so grateful to you both for being here. Love when you're on, and hope you'll come back, continue to come back regularly. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Tell everybody about a few things. First of all, right now at 7 o'clock Eastern time, you can watch Bridget Fedesi. Her program is on, and I'm just looking for the right language here to use. Real America, What is a Man is the topic of today's show. Bridget will be here shortly with that, 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'll be on special report with Brett Baer this evening if you want to check me out there. My new episode of Next Up is available now. New kind of debate. I'm trying to remake the way candidates debate rather than timed answers, standing behind lecterns and canned sound bites and stagey questions. Just have the candidates talk to each other. And two gentlemen who are running for governor of California, one Democrat, one Republican, join me on Next Up to talk about the issues, not the politics, not the gotcha, the issues facing not just voters in California, but around the country. So go to YouTube or to anywhere you get your podcast to listen or watch that episode of Next Up. And then tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time, Sean, Dan, and I will be here for the morning meeting. Grateful to you all for being here to be part of this community. And I'll see you later on, including the morning meeting. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.